Welcome to Shooby Dooby Doo Up, a podcast where we talk about pop music, specifically by deep diving a randomly chosen UK top 10 singles chart from the past. If you see me walking down the street, my curiosity running wild, golden days before they end, cruising and playing the radio, you gave me sweet memories. I'm James Cook.
I'm Andy Robinson. Which UK randomly selected top 10 singles chart from the past are we looking at this week on Shooby Dooby Doo Up?
We're going to the 10th of June, 1964.
In the top 30, there's loads of other great records, such as World Without Love by Peter and Gordon, Can't Buy Me Love by the Beatles, Shout by Lulu and the Lovers, Here I Go Again by the Hollies, My Guy by Mary Wells, a little bit of Motown sneaking in, and maybe surprisingly, Move Over Darling by Doris Day.
The number one album in the UK at this point was Rolling Stones by The Rolling Stones.
I'm glad you mentioned this, James. In music news around the 10th of June 1964, the Rolling Stones are just about to do their first tour out of the United States. The Who about to release their first single, and A Hard Day's Night, the movie by the Beatles, is about to be released. In world news, James, I had a little look. The Brook Advisory Centre had just opened. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it advises people about different sort of streams and things in woodlands.
Yes, as well as checking teenage pregnancy and family planning. The Mods and Rockers have just had a big scrap on Brighton Beach.
And who won?
We'll never know.
Who goes on to fight the Teddy Boys in the final?
I don't know. And would you believe, James, a bit of local news for me and you, the Boring Shopping Centre has just opened in Birmingham.
Great, I'm going to go and get me some bargains.
Yeah, 1964 bargains, let's go.
I've got some stats about this chart.
I love your mid-60s stats.
This UK Top 10 contains 3 number one singles. In fact, it's the top 3. There are 3 songs going down, 6 going up, and 1 non-mover for a total net movement of +7. There are 6 British artists, 3 Americans and 1 Jamaican, 4 groups, 6 solo artists, and 4 cover versions.
Great mid-60s stats by my reckoning. There is 1 instrumental, so who knows what's about. The other 9 songs are all about the complexities of love. There are 2 of devastation, 2 of a pleading nature, 2 about an all-encompassing obsession, 1 of a philosophical supposition, 1 about a sugar rush of physical sensation, and 1 about a suppressed libido due to a faulty car design. There are no examples of self-reference, and there's only 1 key change this week.
Are you disappointed?
Yes, I am. I expect at least 2 key changes at this point.
Okay, well, there is a hell of a lot of melodrama in this chart, isn't it?
Yeah.
It could be our most dramatic chart yet. And you can listen to all of the drama on our playlists. The links are in the description. There's a YouTube playlist with some performances, and there is a Spotify playlist, and all the songs are really short because it's a chart from the past.
We would recommend either before, during, or after this podcast, you listen to the attached playlist where you can listen to all of this great UK randomly selected top 10 singles. And there's another half a dozen songs on that playlist, James. Why would that be?
Because we're going to get into those in our bonus tracks. That's where we talk about songs that never get to be in the top 10, but we do feel they should be talked about anyway, and that is purely for our beloved Patreon backers. But don't worry, you can become one really easily by going to patreon.com/ShoobyPodcast. And on this week's bonus tracks, we've got Little Richard, a Eurovision winner, the most exciting band since the Beatles, and a veritable menagerie of dogs, wolves, and animals. You can join our Patreon community for free. The bonus tracks podcast costs less than £1 a week.
Well, I see no reason to hang around, James, in this chart that we're both delving into before we were born. What a treat that is.
Let's make our hearts go giddy up.
Number 10.
Up 1 place to number 10. It's Walk On By Dionne Warwick.
Walk On By, I feel everybody knows this song.
Would you say it was in the American songbook?
You know me, James. I believe the American songbook might have finished in the mid-50s for some reason. But yeah, okay. It's a classic written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, of course.
It is. And I feel like I've known this song for years in many different guises. And it was only this week, listening to it through my headphones, over and over again that I realised that it's probably the best record ever made.
I agree. Again,
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah. We mentioned this, don't we? You sort of know it, but when you hear it in context, like we will do through this top 10, you think, blimey, this is strong.
This is so. I mean, it's so far ahead of pretty much everything else in this chart. I feel like we've peaked really soon in this top 10.
What do you mean by far ahead? But in terms of sophistication and the delivery and just the joy of making a pop record.
You know, the tune is great, the melody is great, the sentiment of the song is not dissimilar to other songs we're going to talk about, but it's a lot more understated, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot more subtext in the lyrical content. I think they're just a step ahead. And then oh God, I'm going to sound like such a boring old proper music man. The production is incredible. The choices of the instrumentation is so good. And it's so good how things come in and then they disappear again.
Yep. As we say, written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. I learned some new things this week, James. Do you know what Burt Bacharach's middle name is?
Shack Attack.
It's Freeman.
Oh, okay.
And do you know what Hal David's middle name is?
Hardy Willis.
Oh, Grattans. You've got it. Yeah.
Tim Burgess of the Charlatans, and who knew he'd show up in this chart for 1964? But he once said about Walk On By, he said that it was anything but easy listening.
Because it's so bleak.
Yeah, but also that's kind of the genre that Bacharach and David songs get put into, is kind of easy listening. But you listen to it and you go, no, this is what, a couple of years before Good Vibrations.
Yeah.
And yet it manages to be a 2.5 minute long symphony.
Yeah, I mean, here we are in 1964. There's a degree of sophistication. She sings it great, don't she, Dion?
If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet, it's probably because I'm listening to Walk On By Dionne Warwick, and it has got me right in the feels.
So you're saying, if you see James walking down the street and he starts to cry when on his feet, walk on by. Lovely, isn't it? All the majors and minor chords, walk on by. But you know it, I don't need to go on.
Yeah, you kind of missed out you've buried the lead a little bit there, because of course after Walk On By it's
Okay.
which I've just realised is the music from Crossroads. But the staccato trumpet, is that the right word? I'm trying to learn musical terms.
What do you mean by staccato?
Just, it's short.
Short, sharp bursts, absolutely.
Short, sharp notes. The notes don't run into it. It's not. It's like that. Because a lot of the genius, I think, of this record is that the instrumentation reflects the content of the lyrics. Because the lyrics are all about don't stop, but also the subtext is please do stop. It's someone yearning for a relationship that's ended. So even though that she's saying walk on by, she's kind of saying don't walk on by, stay with me. And all the music is stopping.
Absolutely. She just can't get over losing you. And so if she seems broken and blue, walk on by. I mean, you'd have to be quite hard-hearted to walk past somebody who's broken and blue.
And yet we do every day, don't we?
We do every day, James.
But there's also the guitar, which is tick, tick.
Yep.
It's just that noise, isn't it? That's the guitar noise. Then there's vibes come in, like in the background. And then when the strings come in, they sound really luxurious. And you think, aha, the strings are here now. Everything's going to be good. And then they go as well. There's that kind of recurring theme of the impermanence of everything. And when they do the stop, the backing vocals, going stop, and everything stops apart from two grand pianos. It's two grand pianos playing the piano bit and a wood block, which is kind of like that. It's incredible. Also, the drums, which sound like big timpani kettle drums to give it that sense of drama.
Yes, drama is a word I'd associate with this record.
And then in the fade out, you get those drum fills that you think, aha, here come the drums, and the drum does a drum fill, and then it's gone.
Check it out on either our playlists, either hourly or video. Did you watch the video?
No, I haven't watched any of the videos.
Oh, it's really good. There's a performance from some American TV show, Red Skelton, I think, where Dion, it's a little production number that they made for this show. There she is, looking great, sounding great, singing great. And there's loads of dancers around her doing a peculiar canter. So really good. Check that out. We'll put that on our playlist. I also learned some things about Dionne Warwick. I'm going to give you a little quiz on. Whose cousin was she, James?
She's Whitney Houston's cousin.
That's right. I learned that a lot of people were there from a record called Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat. So we always like this. Doja Cat sampled the beautiful rumba, the beautiful bossa nova of this. You can imagine that, can't you, being a new track? The backing's so brilliant.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Doja Cat's track. Yeah, it got to number 1 in 2023. So really, that's the most successful version chart-wise of Walk On By. This only gets to number 9. There are some other charting versions.
The Stranglers.
Yes, you're right. The Stranglers got to number 21 with it. D-Train got to number 44 in 1982. Okay. The sort of smooth 80s R&B version. Thibble got to number 6 in 1990, which is one better than Gabrielle, who got to number 7 in 1997, which is the version that's the most tonally similar to the original, I would argue. But all of those pale into insignificance compared to the average white band's version in 1979, which got to number 46, where I've written down here, when I was listening to it, what the fuck is this?
Wasn't working for you?
No, not for me.
That was a bit weird. James, this week, do the jingle, please, because you know what I'm going to do.
What's Dionne Warwick done lately?
She's just given 80th birthday advice to Donald Trump. Did you see this article?
No.
There's loads of 80-year-olds, people like Liza Minnelli and Art Garfunkel and Bob Dylan. Would you give any advice to Donald Trump since he's turned 80 and you're already 80? Bob Dylan predictably goes on a sea of misdirection by saying things like, when you're 80, you never know what's going to happen around the corner, man. You know, all that sort of stuff. Typically Dylan-esque. However, Dionne Warwick, she was much more abrupt than Bob Dylan. Have you got any advice for Donald Trump on his 80th birthday, Dionne? She says, start acting like you're 80.
In many ways, he is. He's a mad old racist. There you go.
Okay.
Like an 80-year-old would be.
Are we saying Dionne Warwick is encouraging war?
Yeah, sure. I think what's really surprising about this record is that it was originally a B-side.
No way.
Imagine writing and recording and producing this with all of its intricacies and going, yep, that'll go on the flip side of something. And the story goes that Murray the K, the famous American radio DJ, started playing the B-side instead and sort of helped make the record company realize that they had a hit there.
Okay.
Although that could be the sort of thing that Murray the K would often say that he did.
Are we accusing Murray the K of bigging himself up?
Not accusing anything. I mean, it's very likely to be true, isn't it? Have you heard the German version that Dionne Warwick recorded?
No.
It is musically identical, except she sings it in German, obvious. But the only difference is the backing singers on the German version, for some reason, are really loud. It's like they're yelling.
Okay. Germans.
Schnell, schnell.
So the Germans like being shouted at.
Yeah.
Have I just said that? Didn't feel right when I said it.
Yeah. But I've loved listening to it this week and really getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel everybody knows it, as we both alluded to at the beginning, but absolutely check it out to remind yourself how great it is.
Number 9.
Down 3 to number 9 this week. It's A Little Lovin' by The Foremost.
A Liverpudlian 4-piece managed by Brian Epstein.
That's right. They're on a certain lot of files, aren't they? Were you familiar with this song this week, James, going in?
No, I didn't know it at all. And you've got to bear in mind, the first time I ever heard it, listening to it this week, it immediately followed me being all emotional about Walk On By and how, elegant and sophisticated that song is. And it kind of that fades out. And then all of a sudden this one comes in and it's very confident. And I was like, oh, who are these ruffians with their loud noise?
Very different in tone to Dion, that's for sure. Now, the Foremost, as we mentioned, from Liverpool, managed by Brian Epstein. I'm going to say in this record, there's a bit of an allusion to the Beatles.
In what way?
It's that bit at the end, isn't it? They go in, whatever.
Yes, that bit. The rest of it doesn't really, but the ending, because they sing it all together all at the same time, don't they, in a sort of Bananarama way, until the very last line.
Yeah. So it essentially is in the evening. A little loving goes a long, 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 long way. And then that bit at the end, a little loving. Sounds like John Lennon. And then someone comes in to go, a little loving. They sound like Macca. And then a third voice comes in, we'll go a long, long. Sound pretty much like the Beatles, almost like they're doing a little tribute to them at the end.
But I think for the rest of it, it's almost like a ska record, isn't it? It's so bouncy.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Bad Manners.
And we've got one in our bonus tracks that's another allusion to a ska record. And also in this top 10 soon, we've got an absolute, maybe the first ever ska record to get in the UK top 10. So ska's about, are we saying?
I mean, there is a link between this band and the Beatles, other than the ones we've already mentioned, in that their first top 10 hit, Hello Little Girl, was written by
John Lennon and Paul McCartney. So the Beatles were giving them their cast-offs to get them going, a bit like they did with the Rolling Stones, although the Rolling Stones don't like to mention that so much these days.
Their number 17 hit that they also had, I'm in Love, was a Lennon and McCartney song as well.
Okay, so they're right in there.
Yeah, but this one was written by Russell Alquist.
Who he?
Well, I did a bit of digging into Russell Alquist. He's quite the character. He is described as an athlete, lifeguard, and songwriter. And I think this could be the first. We've had a lot of singer-songwriters, haven't we, on this podcast?
Yeah.
We've never had a lifeguard songwriter before.
No. It's a new genre we're promoting.
Yeah, he was married to Juliet Mills, the British actress, and, sister of Hayley Mills.
Okay.
When they met, because he was working at Central Park Ice Rink. And she was like, you're the guy for me, guy at the ice rink.
Human League should do a song about this dynamic.
He was working at Central Park Ice Rink.
That much is true. All right.
He also wrote songs for Herman's Hermits, Wayne Newton and Bobby Darin, among others. But he mainly was a lifeguard. He kept lifeguarding until his retirement in the year 2000. And he rarely sort of spoke about his songwriting antics that he did in the 60s. In 2015, the state of New Jersey named December the 9th Russell Edward Alquist Jr. Day. And after his death in 2017, a beach patrol station in Atlantic City was named after him. So despite writing a bunch of hit records, and this one that gets eventually to number 6, he is most remembered for being really good at being a lifeguard in New Jersey.
That's made this record better for me this week. All right.
Yeah. You go, oh, wow. They've had a couple of songs written by members of the Beatles and one by a lifeguard.
Who gets a town named after him? No, that's not quite right, but you know what I'm saying.
They would have 3 more top 40 hits, but tragically in 1966, the guitarist Mike Millwood would die of leukemia.
Rest in peace, Mike Millwood. Thank you for your contribution to the panoply of pop.
The only surviving member is Dave Lovelady, which is a great name. There is a touring version of The Foremost, but it's 4 completely different blokes now because there was like a whole trademark court case in 2008 and the original members lost the right to it.
I saw a video of the, let's call it the imposters, calling themselves The Foremost, singing it in the 70s. Very odd. Very odd if you're going to steal an identity to go after the Foremost one. Also, the original clip by James and the videos, which we're going to put in the playlist as we keep banging on about. This was good from a fella called Chris Street. He was banging on. One of them, the Foremost, plays a model of guitar called the Country Gent. Also, George Harrison gave it to them. So this Country Gent guitar, bearing in mind that Lennon and McCartney gave them loads of songs, George Harrison thought, he can have one of my guitars as well. Ringo gave him a drumstick, so they're fully beatled up. But anyway, so Chris Street going on. Can we prove it about this country gent guitar? Can we pull out the serial number and confirm which one George gave to Brian? And will that help us track it down? This fella is obsessed with tracking down the original country gent guitar from the Foremost. And I thought, that's stupid. And then I realised that Paul McCartney's just made a big, long documentary about his bass guitar going missing. So this is a new type of a financial gain for the Beatles. Keep making documentaries about your missing guitars.
Yeah, you mentioned Brian. That's Brian O'Hara. We've also already mentioned Brian Epstein. There are going to be quite a few Brians in this week's chart.
It's 1964, baby.
Number 8.
Up 5 places to number 8. It will peak at number 2. It's Someone by Brian Poole and the Tremolos. I think that's the third Brian so far.
We're at number 8.
Originally a Crickets B-side in 1959.
Yes, I learned this was written by the Crickets, as John Mellors on YouTube says. It's amazing how many Crickets B-sides became hits for others. He mentions More Than I Can Say by Bobby V, and Leo Sayer did it later. I Fought the Law by the Bobby Fuller Four, and then the Clash did it later. He also mentions Not Fade Away that the Stones covered, which is number 44 this week. So the Crickets cover versions, I mean, dominating is a strong word, but they've got an influence in this chart.
You say written by the Crickets. The writing credit goes to a guy called Edwin Grains, who would write the song Mr. Success for Frank Sinatra, and Violet Ann Petty.
Okay, who's the wife of Norman Petty, who was Buddy Holly's producer and worked loads with Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
Yeah. Norman Petty was at the recording of this version of it. Oh. He came to when Brian Poole was recording it, and he said to Brian Poole, you need to sing softly with feeling, and to do that, you need to lie down in the recording booth.
Is this a fact?
Apparently so. According to Brian Poole, that's what he did. He's singing it lying down, and he said it was really hard to do because all the rest of the tremolos were killing themselves laughing while he was doing it.
Do you remember when we covered the Bangles with Eternal Flame, and the producer somehow convinced Susanna Hoffs to take her clothes off for singing? So maybe Brian got away lightly with this.
Oh no, do I have to lie down at work? Oh, that sounds awful.
All right, I think the lying down would suit this soporific song, James. What are they going on about? Brian Poole and the Tremolos, essentially. They're going, someone loves you, someone loves you, someone who really loves you is someone who really loves you. That's when your life begins. Something, I've made that terrible. We have to change it round for copyright reasons, James. So, Brian Poole is...
It's very passive-aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone loves you.
Once I was loved by no one, but no one depended on me. I thought that I was truly happy. How wrong could I be? So, essentially, Brian and the Tremolos are saying that your life is not complete until someone loves you. It's got a key change in it. That's good. The only one.
Is that the one?
It's the one.
It's very prescriptive, isn't it? Saying your life's not real unless someone loves you. This was their fourth and final UK top 10 hit before what?
Would it be the Tremolos when Silence is Golden?
Well, it's before Brian Poole buggered off.
Talked about him before, haven't we?
He went to go solo, and that was such a success that in the 1970s, he would go on to work in his brother's butcher's shop.
And then the Tremolos went on to have big hits, and Brian Poole came back cap in hand, maybe? I don't know.
Well, he was persuaded to go back into music by...
Brian Epstein?
No, this was in the 70s. So, you know, who's big in the music scene in the 70s?
Elton John.
Who's got the kind of clout that could talk a man back into coming into the music business, the business that eventually has treated him so badly, and yet they had the influence to say, come on, Brian, you can do this. Who do you think had that kind of draw?
No idea.
It was Cannon and Ball. And of course, we've spoken of his daughters, haven't we?
Brian Poole?
Yeah.
Who are they in now?
Come on.
Oh, come on, remind me. We've done so many.
This was in the bonus tracks episode. His daughters, Shelley and Karen.
Which band was that? Better
known as Alicia's Attic.
Okay. Okay. On YouTube, Boo Boo pops up to say 10 million times better than U2, Pink, and effing Pearl Jam.
It isn't.
No,
It's really not.
it's really not.
I like that you like it, but
It's so old fashioned, this record, isn't it? That's what I felt.
yeah, it could have been from any point from the start of the charts, really,
Yeah.
to 1964. And to think that this is the band that Decca signed instead of the Beatles.
Imagine being that band. It'd be like if it'd be like, let me have a think.
Okay.
It would be as if we applied for some podcast award and then someone else took it better.
That was worth waiting for, wasn't it?
Thank you. So Brian Paul, he seems to be saying that as long as someone loves you, everything will be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically the thrust of this record, is it not?
Yeah.
We put a quiz out on social media, James. Weirdly, we have a lot of pop stars listening to this, don't we?
Yeah, some of them from beyond the grave.
So we put a quiz out on our social media, Facebook,
Instagram.
Shuby Podcast. Check us out.
Yeah.
We asked all these pop stars, what other things can you sing about when life begins? And would you believe we had a torrent of answers? We offered 1 million pop points each for the best suggestion. What else can you do? And how else does life begin since Brian Paul's so certain?
Beyonce's getting on it to say her life begun when she became a girl who's naughty.
Lana Del Rey's having a say and reckons her life's beginning because she's just turned 40.
Bruno Mars doesn't find it hard to recount that baby his life begins today.
And Robbie Williams is back in business. Can he get a witness and asking every girl, every man to get his life to begin because he don't want to rock DJ?
Taylor Swift thinks it's a gift to recount that on a Wednesday in a cafe she watched it begin again.
And Michael Finnegan's got whiskers on his chin and his life begins when the wind blew him in again.
Natasha Kaplinski is having a wingding. Does that rhyme?
I don't know what you mean. What are you worried about rhyming for? We're just doing the answers.
Natasha Kaplinski is having a wingding and her life began when she was given the job of assessing motion pictures age certification.
Well, Dave Grohl's on a roll and advises to take it from him that he is sure life begins when a sperm and an egg fuse, forming a single cell with a set of 46 chromosomes in the process of fertilization. Who are we going to give 1 million pop points to this week? Natasha Kaplinski?
Yeah, why not?
Do you know what I'm on about? Do you
No.
know what Natasha's on about with the age verification? Have you not seen it?
I know she works for the BBFC.
Have a look at when you go to the cinema, James, the old
Yeah.
newsreader, Natasha Kaplinski. Her name appears in the signature. She passes every film. She gives us an idea of what we can watch at what ages. Who'd have thought it?
Number 7.
Down forward to number 7 this week. It's My Boy Lollipop by Millie. The first Scar record I mentioned earlier. I don't know if that's an actual fact, but it's certainly up there, isn't it? I can't imagine it being another one.
I think it's the first one to really get into the public consciousness, isn't it?
You must have known this record before this week, James.
Yeah. I just love how it starts. It's so confident, isn't it? It goes, blam, blam.
My Boy Lollipop. A little beautiful skank. A lot of people on YouTube are saying they were here because it was from the Spice Girls movie. It featured in there. Do you remember that?
Spice World.
Spice World. Great song because the Spice Girls didn't have quite enough for that film, I'm going to suggest.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about where the song comes from?
Please.
It's so weird, this story. It's going to involve gangland warfare and a card game.
Okay.
It was written by a guy called Robert Spencer. Now, we've spoken of Robert Spencer before. He was in a band called the Cadillacs, and he would go on to be the lead singer of a band called Crazy Elephant, who we have spoken of in a bonus tracks episode. But in 1956, he writes My Girl Lollipop, as it was originally. And then he plays a card game, and he loses the rights to the song in a card game to some guy. Who then sells the rights to Maurice Levy.
Who we've also mentioned in the past many times. He wrote Stay, didn't he? I think, and he was in the, all right then.
Did he?
No. You're saying?
The thing about Maurice Levy is that maybe he wrote some of the songs. Maybe he just said he wrote some of the songs.
The Pete Waterman of the 60s.
Yeah. And then Morris Levy gave the song to Corky Vastola, a concert promoter and mobster who got a singer called Barbie Gay to record the first version. Why are you laughing at the name Barbie Gay, Andrew?
It just reminded me of Marvin Gaye, to be honest.
Okay.
Nothing more than that.
Okay. Like a Barbie version of Marvin Gaye. Grapevine Barbie. She was 14 and she had to skip school to go and record it. Obviously, when she recorded it, she changed the title to My Boy Lollipop. She added the whoa, oh, that bit.
Yeah. And
put in the word dandy. Always good word to have in a pop song, I think. And she got paid $200 for doing that. Corky Vastola, by the way, former golf partner of Sammy Davis Jr., would share a prison cell with John Gotti, the head of the Gambino crime family. John Gotti was convinced that Vastola was going to turn state's evidence on him, so put out a hit on his life. And that is one of the charges that got John Gotti put away forever.
Amazing.
Was the guy who sort of hooked up the original version of My Boy Lollipop.
Amazing.
As far as I can tell, Corky Vastola is still alive at the age of 98.
It's a strange thing to go to a card game with, saying you can have the rights to a song, isn't it? Putting that in the pot.
Yeah. I mean, what hand must you have had to go in with that?
All right.
I mean, I hear the person who wrote ABC was in a cards game, and he only had Jackson 5s.
I was there when you did that joke.
But, you know, he lost the rights to it. This version of it by Millicent Dolly Mae Small, sold 7 million copies worldwide.
It's huge.
It's massive, it is.
Because it's so new, I think, to ears, that sound. I mean, the Beatles a bit later on. This is a rumour anyway, because of that rhythm. They got a song called I Call Your Name, and however it goes, I call your name, but you're not there. Was I to blame for being unfair? And in the instrumental break, they go, I call your name. And then there's a bit where the Beatles in the instrumental go, and the rumour is it's because they were so enamoured with this record. So at least for a few seconds, the Beatles were skanking, man.
Well, they worked with Millie, didn't they, a little bit? She appeared on some gigs with them. I think she appeared on a TV show.
Okay, good
research.
Around
about this time with the Beatles. She rose to fame in Jamaica after winning a talent contest on the radio. And Chris Blackwell, the founder of Island Records, found the Barbie Gay version and then said, Millie, you should record this. And got in a guy called Ernie Ranglin to play guitar and sort the arrangement. So he adds the blam, blam.
He did loads of solo records before this as well on the in Jamaica. So he's a legend, Ernie Ranglin.
Yeah. And the that was Ernie Ranglin, because it's really weird. If you listen to the original Barbie Gay version, that's not in it. And you instinctively want there to be after the lines.
All the hooks as well, aren't they? Apart from the melody and the words, all that stuff with the beautiful hooks. There's a fantastic harmonica solo in it.
And who plays that?
The rumour is
Rod
Stewart, but it's not true, I don't think.
Well, thing is, Millie says it was definitely Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart says, wasn't me. And another guy called Peter Hogman says, it was me.
We need to weigh this evidence up. What do you think?
Well, I looked at photos of what Peter Hogman and Rod Stewart looked like in 1964. They did look very similar. So it could potentially be that Millie thought it was Rod Stewart, and it wasn't. Hey, look, he thinks he's Rod Stewart.
It's Alan Partridge quote. I'm glad we got one of them in. So Millie saw the harmonica player turning around in the garage forecourt in his car. It was Rod Stewart. There's a rumour. Some people were saying Jack Bruce of Cream played bass on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the 60s, isn't it? Beautiful swinging 60s. Session men turning up left, right and centre. Who knows who played on everything?
So it's a huge hit. Obviously, Island Records go on to be massive. Chris Blackwell goes on to live in Goldeneye.
Goldeneye?
It was Ian Fleming's house in the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
That's where Chris Blackwell lives now. Millie, in contrast, by 1987 was penniless and living in a hostel with her toddler daughter. She never received any royalties from the record because she didn't write it. Other singles that she released never sort of got anywhere near as popular as this one.
I had a Best of Millie CD once, and they all sounded a bit like this. It's a joyous half hour that was.
Yeah. My Boy, insert name of confectionery. My Boy Licorice All Sorts.
Yep.
My Boy Jelly Babies.
I see. There was a
My Boy Sherbet Dip.
There was a lot of people talking on YouTube about coming from another video. There's a brilliant clip of a woman singing this by a graveside Scottish woman. She's on her own sort of singing. She's having a go at everybody else for not singing along and dancing at this graveside while she's singing this song.
At a funeral.
At a funeral. I'm highly recommending this video. I thought it was a beautiful rendition in its own weird way. Also, while we're on YouTube comments, Lee Jones pops up to say, I had a crappy Lidl advert before this that I couldn't skip. Fair enough, adverts on YouTube. But then I was thinking about adverts spoiling songs, and I listened to our old one, audio podcast that was on one of the streaming things, and before it, we had an advert for, let's call it, impotence, James? Flaccid.
I don't think it's an advert for impotence.
That's what we... That's
you troubled by unmanageable erections? Then try impotence.
We're marketing, apparently, the people who listen to it, and I think, can't get it up, James.
Well, I know. I mean, they're listening to or looking at us. They need something to counteract that.
Number 6.
Up 4 places to number 6. It's going to peak at number 3. It's No Particular Place to Go by Chuck Berry.
Another bona fide classic.
Yeah, and like other Chuck Berry songs that we've covered before, it has the sort of structure of a sort of Shaggy Dog story, doesn't it?
A Shaggy Dog story, I think, though, implies that it makes no sense and it doesn't really go anywhere. I suppose an element of truth to that, but it's got a punchline, hasn't it?
Which all good Shaggy Dog stories do.
Right. Yeah. We mentioned it before, James. I like this. Now, when we talked about Millie just, and you were on about whatever key it would be in, G, so you had that kind of, my boy lollipop. We had that intro, didn't we? You mentioned that big, whatever it is. Chuck Berry, he does a brilliant intro of that noise, yeah? Augmented chord, as John Ward on YouTube says, using augmented chords makes it sound like a motor horn and the Doppler effects.
Yeah, it also kind of sounds a bit like someone starting up a car, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a brilliant intro. Run along my automobile, whatever he's doing. My baby beside me at the wheel.
Would you say that's a blues structure there?
It's a 12-bar blues, absolutely.
Here's the lyric, and then here's the little riff at the end of the line.
Yep. And the 12-bar blues structure, as Chuck Berry wrote often. I mean, it's made, as you know, James, I love Chuck Berry, don't I? The fact that you can get so many different melodies, so many stories that have evolved out of essentially 12-bar blues all the time. Brilliant.
So what is the story here?
Chuck Berry he's riding along in his automobile. The baby beside him at the wheel. And essentially, they're driving around, and then when he wants to have a bit of loving at the end, the denouement, can you imagine the way I felt? I couldn't unfasten the safety belt. That kind of thing, you know.
Who can't undo a safety belt, a seatbelt in a car?
Chuck Berry.
It's just a button. Just press the button. Oh, do you know what he needs? Have you seen those tools you can buy that cut through seatbelts that old people have in their cars in case they have a Chuck Berry loving situation?
Yes.
He needs to get himself one of them.
Back higher arm Ashaya. This was from 19 hours ago, this comment. They say, let's keep it real, Chuck. I'm not riding around in my automobile with these gas prices.
That's true. This is from a different time when going for a drive was a lovely pastime and hobby and not a bloody nightmare that cost you a fortune and made you sit in traffic for hours on end.
That's unlike you, James, to be nostalgic for the days gone past.
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying it's different. And I wasn't alive, so I don't know.
I thought that the other day. Let's call it energy prices. I was going to have a baked potato baked in the oven for an hour and a half. I thought, I can't afford that. Baked potatoes become a luxury item all of a sudden. Psycho Game says, Chuck Berry is the reason I eat berries. Thank you, Chuck, for improving my diet.
People take what they want, don't they, from pop songs? That's what we've learned from YouTube comments, I think.
Don Hathaway says, if I remember correctly, he wrote this in jail. Rather poignant. Do you know what he was in jail for?
Yes, we've spoken of this before. He was in jail for transporting a minor across state lines, which makes a song about driving around in a car with a baby, gives it an edge that it doesn't necessarily need.
I don't think he's maybe the nicest man in the world, Chuck Berry, but I turn a blind eye when Mr. Berry's about.
Well, this is the third time we've talked about him. We've talked about My Ding-a-Ling, which shows up in the 70s. We've also done, is it Nadine we did in a bonus track?
I chose Nadine because it's one of my favourite ever records. Okay.
Yeah, it's so weird. This is only his second of 3 UK top 10 hits. So we've already covered 2 of them. Yeah. And this was the first hit he had after he got out of prison. So,
yeah, 1964, isn't it? The Beatles were doing loads of Chuck Berry covers around this time on their first few albums, Roll Over Beethoven and all the ones I can't remember off the top of my head. And I suppose that Chuck Berry, a bit like Little Richard in our bonus tracks, actually, these rock and rollers, they had a little resurgence, didn't they, in the mid-60s? I think because so many British blues beat bands were covering them all the time.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about this a little bit in the bonus tracks as well. But the British blues fans who then became bands would quite openly say, no, we got this from such and such an American act, and you should all listen to that.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know, that's, if you're going to be influenced by someone, share who that influence is so that other people can enjoy them.
Who shall we share our influences with then? Since we're doing a pop music, there's other pop music podcasts that are all great, but listen to this one first mainly.
Yeah.
That's petty, isn't it? That's a petty way of doing it.
Who produced this record?
I don't know.
The Chess Brothers.
Okay, so he's still knocking around that record label in the mid-60s.
Yeah, Leonard and Philip Chess, or Leisure and Feigl Shish, from a part of Poland that is now in Belarus.
Okay.
Philip lived to 95, but Leonard passed away 6 months after they sold Chess Records. Their dad, apparently, used to work for Al Capone.
There's a load of gangsters around these charts.
A lot of gangsters around. Louis Satterfield is on bass on this record. I mentioned him because he plays the bass on Rescue Me.
Fontella bass.
Yes, it's quite a notable ding, 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 ding.
You're doing a lot of recreating of very difficult musical instruments this week, James. I like it.
I'm doing it very badly as well. He also apparently played trombone on a load of Phil Collins albums.
Did he?
Yeah. I don't know whether Phil wanted him to do it or whether he just showed up.
That's good. Did you know this record before this week, James?
Yeah, it's been, you know, it was used a lot in my head. It was like used in adverts and stuff in the 80s and 90s. Particularly when there was that part of British adverts where everyone was obsessed with American things and they wanted everything to look American and sort of 1950s and like a diner and riding on Route 66. You know, riding along in my automobile. I mean, that lends itself to a car ad, doesn't it?
Very much so. I mean, also, Chuck Berry, apart from all the dreadful behaviour, he's stolen this song, but from himself. He had that one, School Days, I think, from the mid-50s, late 50s. Up in the morning and out to school. Do you know that song? The teacher is teaching the golden rule. So essentially, he's just rewrote the words to that old melody he had, and I think it's better than School Days because, well, it's just dirtier record, isn't it? It's more adult. It's more, it's funnier.
Well, yeah, you say it's a dirty record, but nothing happens because of the seatbelt. Yeah. And then I started thinking, is the seatbelt a metaphor for something? Something else that would prevent you? I
believe this to be the case.
Yeah. Maybe the seatbelt is a metaphor for impotence. And that's why Shooby Dooby Doo Up is brought to you by Boner Pills.
I think they were called Boner Pills.
Well, that's the first half of this top 10 from the 10th of June, 1964. We've had quite a few classics in there.
As always, you can listen to these songs, those 5 we've just talked about, and the 5 we're about to talk about in part 2, and another half a dozen which feature on our Patreon bonus tracks for our beloved Patreon listeners.
Yeah, there's a YouTube, there's a Spotify. And coming up in part 2, oh, the drama. We're going to go through all the feels with Cliff and the Shadows, but not together. The big O, the little C, and the medium-sized J.
Please listen. Well, listen, that's a low bar to set, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you have listened, please rate, subscribe, put a comment in below, stick a like on it. All these things, people ask you every time you watch something on YouTube, but we could really do with the help.
Yeah, we really could. And the reason people ask you all the time is because no one ever does it.
No.
Then we're going to keep asking until you do.
I've realised this week. We're always begging at the end, aren't we, for someone to press a button of some kind. I watch loads of great YouTubers and I can't be bothered, but we mean it.
Yeah, we're different.
For some reason.
Yeah. So thanks very much for listening. And until next time, shooby dooby doo up.
And bop bop shoe up.